Hello, lovelies, and welcome to Squeaky's Cauldron. I am your host, Sarah Evergreen. I'm a coach specializing in all sorts of stuff, including getting sexy with your magic, working on boundaries, and reconnecting with your inner child. Thank you so much for being here today. And today is a special day, indeed. About 2 years ago, I embarked on season 3 of my podcast and my YouTube channel. And in that time, I started filming YouTube videos and using the audio from that as a podcast. And the whole season of season 2, which is not obviously attached to any particular kind of date that would make sense for a normal season, it's more a season of my life, I called that season the Fuck It season. That was so much about me giving up on other people's standards of what my life was supposed to look like, what I was supposed to do, how I was supposed to behave, how I was supposed to show up for the people in my life. And that's been a journey. It's been a great journey, and one that I'm really, really proud of and glad and happy that I went through. And now it is time for another season, my loves. So I'd like to introduce to you season 4 of Squeaky's Cauldron, the Real Ass Magic season. This is a season in which we are going to be talking about exactly that, real ass magic. Magic that happens when we tap into our deeper, authentic selves. The magic that we have inherent in our bodies, in our voices, in our abilities to tell our stories. And isn't that some of the deepest magic? Storytelling. This whole podcast journey has been about storytelling for me. Yes, there's been lots of other things. Obviously, the focus on magic and practices and this kind of stuff, it's all very important. It's all stuff that I'm going to continue talking about. And yet, what is at its core has always been storytelling, telling my story so that you can hear it and perhaps hear a reflection of yourself and your own story in it, and maybe feel a little bit less alone. That's really why I'm here. That, and to activate the fuck out of my throat chakra, because that is, that's been a big thing. So, speaking of the throat chakra, I'm curious if any of you out there have experienced this yourself. I know I have, my partner Hisam has. It's this feeling when you need to say something. You know you need to say it, and it's scary. It's a thing that could create some kind of backlash or conflict with you and someone you care about or someone in a position of authority. And it just feels like a fist is squeezing your throat. It's so painful. So painful. I used to experience this a lot. It still comes up from time to time, but it's much less frequent, especially after doing all this work through Squeaky's Cauldron and just saying the thing and saying the thing and saying the thing. But it doesn't, I think, maybe ever completely go away, because there's always going to be something at some point that really needs to be said that I really don't want to say. But it gets better. It gets easier. As that trust in myself and trust in the necessity of the things that need to be said grows and grows. So, that's a little off topic for the real ass magic. Or is it? Or is it? No, it's not. It's not off topic at all, because you want to know one of the realest, assest, magicest things is? being able to be fucking honest with myself first and then with the people around me. Because if you are not honest with yourself first, like real fucking honest, boo, you cannot be honest with the people around you. You absolutely cannot. There's a barrier there. Because if you're lying to yourself and convincing yourself that this is true when it's actually not in fact true for you, and then you go forward and you say to this person, that person, this is true, it's inherently a lie. So getting honest with yourself and creating the magic of that, because when you're honest with yourself, first and foremost, you get to start discovering what you actually want. And when you know what you actually want, you get to start moving towards it. You get to start taking action. You get to start invoking this co-creation with the universe to bring that thing into being, to bring the person who can handle that thing into being. That's some real ass magic right there, is becoming the person who is able, who is ready, who is willing to stand in their truth, to stand in themselves. One of the things that's coming through as true for me is the need to honor this podcast as a podcast. This is a unique medium. This is not YouTube. And I know a lot of podcasts have the YouTube video for interviews and such, but that's not what I was doing with my YouTube videos. I was creating YouTube videos specifically for YouTube and just cribbing the audio for this podcast. And for a while, again, that felt good, that felt right, that felt fine. And now I'm ready to get a little bit closer to you. Because there is an inherent, I think, separation on a YouTube video, at least for me. I don't know how it is for other creators. But when I'm standing in front of a camera, there is an aspect of performance that doesn't exist in the same way when I'm sitting in front of a microphone. When I'm doing a YouTube video, I'll be very careful about what I wear, how I've done my makeup, the framing of the shot, like all of this stuff, how I'm holding my body. Yeah. But here, right now, talking to you, my voice in your ears, I'm looking at my overstuffed unicorn. Not overstuffed, oversized, stuffed unicorn. I'm looking at a picture of myself at like 3 years old. I'm looking at a teacup that has 3 tea bags inside of it, because I just keep adding to make stronger and stronger tea. Yeah. And I'm sitting, and I'm in a t-shirt, and it's just me and you. It's just me and you. And I've missed this. To be perfectly honest, I've missed this a lot. So, in honor of real ass magic, I am moving back into this space, this original space where I started finding my voice. This original space that took me to Florida on the fucking eve of COVID. This original space that started it all. And I'm being honest. And I think, too, in service of that honesty, there is some way that I can be a little bit more honest with you here than maybe I can be on my YouTube videos. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah. Real ass magic. I want to know what comes up for you when I say that. Just take a second here. When I say we are bringing real ass magic, what does your body do? What does your brain do? What stories comes up? What ideas about yourself, about the nature of the universe, about what magic is, about what real magic is, what comes up? Maybe take a minute to write this down. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you're running. Maybe you're washing dishes. Maybe you're lying in your bed in the dark, allowing my dulcet tones to serenade you. Wherever you're at, just take a breath, take a moment. Real ass magic. What does that mean for me? Real ass magic is transformation, transmutation. Real ass magic is not just, I'm going to do a spell and I'm going to see the physical manifestation of that spell come through. Although there is that. There is that. And that is something that I want to focus on more as well, is pushing myself into the realm of doing these spells that call in something specific and sharing that process with you. More than that, though, deeper than that, though, is the transformation, is the transmutation, is the taking of the pain, the wound, and not just looking at it, not just reckoning with it, which is something that I've done a lot over the past couple of years, and really since the beginning of this podcast. Not just being able to talk about the wound, but moving deeper into it and allowing more and more of the secret that that wound holds for me to come through. The secret of, this is hard for me to say, which is important to note, for myself at least. The secret of going with others, going with you on the journey of your own healing through my own wounds. What the fuck does that mean, Sarah? I think some of you may have some idea about this already, but let me verbalize it. Let me wrap words around it. Share that with you. You may have heard sayings like, your mess is your message. The crack is where the light gets through. Okay, so I guess we're going to tell this story. So I am starting a course tomorrow, leading my very first course. It's called the Lilith Factor, Sex Magic 101. It's a 5-week broad overview course. And one of the biggest wounds for me has been around my sexuality. Has been around sex and sexuality. Yeah, so the expression of it, my desires. I've talked about this before on this podcast, and I'll be talking about it more, I'm sure. And the thing that I've been able to trace that back to primarily has been after I turned 12, And I started going through puberty, and I realized that I was attracted to women as well as men. A lot of that got shamed, a lot of that put me in dangerous positions. And then as I started dating, my sexuality, why can't I say that right? My sexuality and sex were both used against me as means of control, manipulation, yeah, all sorts of things. Very abusive relationships, and rape, to be perfectly honest. There was, sexual abuse in all of the relationships that I was in until I got married. And so when I thought about my sexuality, and the dangers therein, the things that I've been feeling, and the reasons that I had squashed that so hard, it goes back to that time period in my life, from between about 11, 12 to about 2021. And, the ripple effects after that, which, anyway, in terms of formative years, that's what I look to. As I have been creating this course and getting ready to run it, there's been some other things that have gained clarity. One thing that's kept coming up is I'm scared to run this course because if I get up in front of people and say and talk about sex magic and the impact that it's had on me and the way that you can practice it and all this stuff, then that is opening up that door back into this place of being vulnerable, of having it used against me, of being abused, and that's been terrifying. The thing is, I'm not that girl anymore, and part of that, a huge part of how that was used against me was that I refused to accept my power. I refused to embrace my power. I have so much Leo in my chart, so much fucking Leo, and that's always come through for me as just being very tapped into sensuality and sexuality, but having that oppressed, having that be turned into something dangerous and demonized by my parents and by the society that I grew up in, I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't want to touch it. I certainly didn't want to have that be something that I leaned into. God, no, that's fucking terrifying. So yeah, that's been coming up as I do exactly that, as I lean into it, because it is a fucking super power of mine. There's so much juice there for me, and I believe for most, if not everyone else, which is why I'm doing this course at all. What I failed to realize until more recently was that wound didn't originate when I went through puberty. That wound didn't originate when I was a child, even. That wound originated when I was conceived. Conceived in a space of, from my best understanding, darkness, pain, disconnection, victimization, manipulation, coercion. So, from that wound, the wound that has been with me from the moment my soul decided to drop into this particular vessel, Of course, this is something that lights me up. Of course, this is the path that I need to be on. And the realization of that, of dropping into that this is a thing that's been with me for the entire time. That's some real ass magic. Being able to see that and stop pushing it away and instead embrace it fully. The full understanding of it, as much as I possibly can in this moment, at any rate. And of course, there are still layers and layers and layers to unfold, because that's how we do. We are layered beings, layered experiences, layered understandings. But maybe there's something in there that resonates with you. Where is your wound? Where is the wound that your soul came here to navigate? There are undoubtedly wounds on top of that one, but where's the first one? Where's the deepest one? And how are you using that energy in your life right now? How are you transmuting that? Are you transmuting that? Are you able to see it? Are you able to sit with it? Are you able to talk to it, navigate with it, transmute it? Because that dark energy that I was conceived in, I am fucking transmuting that bitch. Sex is not dirty. Sex is not wrong. Sex is not shameful. And to be able to go into a space of sacredness and connection, ritual, clarity, beauty, with sex, both with myself, with a partner, with deity, like that taps directly into that original core wounding and turns it inside out. And I'm not going to say that I'm not nervous about this, but holy shit, this realization has given me so much more sense of grounding. Because it's not just something that I'm making up. It's not just something that I'm doing because I saw someone else on the internet talking about sex magic. It's not something that I'm interested in just because of, oh, I don't know. No. This has been in the fucking blueprints, baby, the whole time. What's in your blueprint? All right, that seems like a good place to end it. So here we go. I'll do my little pitch. I'm a coach. I'd love to work with you. If you want to get into your shadow, inner child stuff, if you want to work with sex magic, like, reach out, let me know. squeakiescauldron@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, squeakiescauldron.com, and the links are, of course, in the show notes. So, until next time, my lovelies, the next time that I get to be in your ears, specifically just talking to you and not the camera. Until then, take care of yourselves, and as always, use your voice.